Hey there, this is Bob. This is my first video of 2023. Headed down to work on the bomber. Working on trying to get the right main fuel cell or bladder installed in the wing. We have basically everything completed on the auxiliary tanks. We still need to put the fuel senders in those, and we're waiting for the fuel filler flanges to be plated, and then we can screw those down, and those will be absolutely 100% complete, provided there's no leaks. We won't know that till we can actually put fuel in it. But I'll try to document today what we're doing on the main fuel tank and take you guys along. Anyway, I'll be back. Hey folks, it's the next day after the installation of the main tank in 917 Yankee and A26 Invader, and I just wanted to give you a little background on the fuel system and the products that we used. In the 40s, when the A26 was first built, they used a self-sealing fuel tank, and so if bullets penetrated the fuel tank, it would automatically seal itself up and they could continue on their mission. Well, the skins on those were almost an inch thick, and the tanks were already pre-formed to drop in there. Well, when ours was converted into a VIP transport, those were taken out, and they used a thin skin, very pliable fuel cell to go in there. And then when they were rebuilt, these are of a much higher quality than the ones that were replaced in the 60s. Those were very non-pliable and had all kinds of leaks. So Eagle Fuel Cells out of Wisconsin created new fuel cells based on our old bladders to go in our aircraft. And kudos to them. There were some fitment problems after they originally did them for us, and they stepped to the plate, and they took care of any repairs that we needed to do, modifications. And they were great people to work with. Give them a phone call and they were Johnny on the spot. The other product, I'm going to call it ACK, but it's actually ACF 50, is the lubricant. It's an anti-corrosion lubricant that creeps into everything. It's good for 2 years for anti-corrosion purposes, and it's created by the Lear Chemical Research Corporation, and they were suggested by Eagle. We went in, and when we were in Oshkosh, we went and talked both to Eagle and to the Lear Chemical Research, and it was a great product to use when installing these tanks. And the last part, and you didn't see them on the video, they're called a dual lock, and it's kind of like Velcro, but the product has mushroom-headed stems that are miniature, and when they lock together, they don't come apart. And we use some 2-inch dots in specific places around the tops of the fuel cells. Again, because our tanks are so flexible, they wanted to fall in, and we needed to hold them up until we can get fuel in them, and it takes a set. Anyway, I'll turn on the rest of the video and see what you guys think. Anyway, on the other side. Hey, this is Bob and Doug. And we're getting ready to install this right-hand main fuel bladder for November 917 Yankees main fuel tank. And I just thought I'd share some of the stuff that we've got to do. Let me reverse. So this is a picture frame that allows access inside the tank. Doug gets to be the lucky one that climbs in the tank. So there's 6 flanges here. This will be for the left-hand tank, and these are ready to go for the right-hand tank. And we use this fancy ACK 50 to lube up all of our flanges and our gaskets. And we're going to go, we've already got the tank up here on the wing. Ready to go. And it's going to drop into that hole. And then we've got to put, there's a flange there in the corner, a small flange, and then there's a bigger one in the bottom That's so the little one is for the fuel drain or sumping the tank. The one in the center and the bottom, that big one, is for the fuel pump, and then the one in the back is for the fuel level sender. So we've got to get those flanges in, and then as we drop the tank in with gaskets and flanges and bolts and so on and so forth. And then so we'll get to that point, and I'm going to try to video this. And put a stand up here and see what it looks like and see if I can do it in fast motion. Anyway, come back to you. Okay, so Doug's been busily, that goes to the other tank. Doug's been busily doing all the attachments in the fuel tank. You've got,
I want to vacuum in there.
that's fine. You've got the fuel pump flange, you've got the drain flange, and you've got the fuel sender flange. We still need to do some perimeter hanging. I'm going to take you down underneath the aircraft and show you what I was doing behind the scenes while Doug was doing all the hard work. So hang on, let me climb off of this beast. Okay, so the last thing I did, let me turn this around, was putting, this is where the fuel level sender will go. And these are the correct hardware, but we've got to take these out and get them plated. Somewhere those fasteners have disappeared. So we'll get enough fasteners, I guess, to do one tank. We'll send these out to be plated, and then we'll do the other tank. So I did that, and hang on. All right, and oops. I did, that's the drain flange, and that's the fuel pump flange. And these will obviously have to be torqued and safetied. All right, I'll get back to you in a little bit when we get a little more done. All right, so now we're ready to install the rest of the top of the tank and get the skin on and get the vent tube on. And we'll put that on time lapse. Anyway, back to you in a minute. All right, I'm back, and we're just in, we've got the tank in the space. Doug is ready to climb back in. We're ready to put the top skin on. But first, before we can do that, there's this little hole right here that provides venting for the fuel tank. And there's a stack of stuff that has to go in there. This is the flange that goes on the bottom. The tank membrane will go on here. There'll be a gasket. Then there'll be this spacer. Then another gasket. Then the skin. Then another gasket. And then this flange will be the last thing on. And this is a vent pipe slash pressurized pipe to pressurize the fuel tank in flight to help the fuel flow to the carburetor. So with that, I'll turn on the time lapse and we'll get going on this. So we just got.
Dave. This looks good in here.
Did that, there?
This?
Yeah.
Yes, mostly.
That's got that spacer on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just getting it down through everything, through the
That
bladder.
kinda holds the tank up.
Okay, so that's venting nicely.
Does that hold the tank high in the cavity there?
Yeah. So our plan, Jan, is to do like we did on the other tank and put the corner brackets in first, then get the nut ring in here after all this is greased, and
Is
get
that
a
down
couple.
for good now?
Yeah.
It's
I'll
here.
take
So
a
take a
couple
look
of-
inside here, Bob.
Want to start this first. Want to get the screws
Has to
in.
move
Taking
and-
Yeah.
a picture of everything going in here.
Yeah. That's the inside of a bladder, folks. Okay.
For the pump
Do you want me to get
Yes.
it in
and for
out
the
that way a bit? I don't
fuel
know.
quantity?
It's just
Yes.
Gasoline.
And the drain.
what I figured, but
Looking really good.
Yeah.
read about
All right,
it.
we'll come back to you. All right, so we've got the picture frame access to the fuel tank. We've got that all just finger tight. Now we're gonna put in some screws to register this top skin. Once we do that, we'll make sure that the other skin that goes on top of the picture frame, we'll make sure it's engaging and understand where we need to, because this will move a little bit. We'll figure out where that goes, and then we'll tighten down all these perimeter screws, get the top skin screwed down, and then we'll only have, after that, we'll only have this one more skin to put on each wing. We still have to do the fuel tank on the other wing, but we don't have all the hardware gaskets that we need. So I'll turn this back on time lapse and we'll go from there. Okay, it's been a really long day, but we finally have the fuel tank in, all the flanges on. We've got the picture window frame in. We've got that skin on. Let me turn around and show you. Okay, so the reason why there's holes that don't have screws in them is because they share holes with this other skin we're going to put on here in just a second, just to see what it looks like. And then underneath this is the fuel filler neck. We have the fuel filler caps ready to go, but the flanges that they go into need to be CAD plated, and then we can finish this. The same problem we have on the aux tanks. So we can't put all of these screws in yet because we need to get in and retorque the screws going into the fuel tank. And then once that's done, this skin can get put on permanently. And there's the boss. That's Jan. Anyway, I'll bring you back after we get this skin up here so you can see what an A26 wing looks like on the top. All right, one last look, and I'm tired. We'll take one last look at this and ooh and ah. Okay, so this skin here is basically an Airstream. It just keeps everything compliant with the wing. This is not a heavy skin, and this one over here is just a cover for the oil tank, and that's the oil tank access. But when this is done, this will all look like one piece. We still have that skin over there to do, but we still have some electrical in there that we're playing with. Same on this side, that skin is not down. And then we have to do everything to that tank that we've done to this tank. Anyway, thanks for watching. Wait for the next one. Have a great day.